Hi, hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda, and today we're going to create 3 looks using the Feral palette by Menagerie Cosmetics. They were formerly known as Monster Makeup, right? Makeup Monsters Cosmetics. So there's a few reasons that I'm super excited for this palette. One of them being, look at this packaging. It is so beautiful. And the second reason is they're out of Liberty Lake, Washington, which is just sort of close to my hometown and where my favorite place to be is, just kind of the like Idaho, Montana, Washington, that little area of the country is just the most beautiful place ever to me. That really just drew me to this palette. So they do have another palette called Dragon Child. I'll put a picture of that up here for you. This is the packaging that the Feral palette comes in. So this is the unicarton that it comes in with this pretty gold foiled lettering. And then on the back you just have the ingredients here. This palette is cruelty free and vegan, as is the whole company, and it retails for $39.99. They also have 23 liquid lipsticks, which I believe are $18.99. If I'm wrong, I'll correct me up on screen. And then you can also buy both of these palettes together, the Feral and the Dragon Child palette, for $73.98. On the back of here you have the company website, the weight of the product, where they're at, and it does say that they're vegan and cruelty free, and then also has the name of the artist that did the cover art. When you open it up, you do have a mirror up here. I don't want to blind you guys. And then it also says Menagerie up top. It's a good size mirror, and this is what the inside of this looks like. Now this is the remake, like a revamped version of the palette. I will put the original one up here, and I have to say I do really enjoy the revamped version. I just like the variety of colors. The only thing that I would change in this palette is I just wish there was, because this green doesn't come out quite as dark. It does kind of if you build it up. And then this one right here is kind of like a gray tone. I love the tone of these colors, don't get me wrong. I just wish there was a darker shade in there to really create definition with some of these looks. I feel like that would pull this palette together really well. There's just so many options, and this palette really inspires me. When I look at this, like, I just get a lot of ideas. I did vary two kind of similar looks in this video using the greens. I just really wanted to do a pink and green look, so I ended up doing another look. I will insert pictures of the looks that I create that might be more everyday looks at the end of this video, just to give you guys more ideas of what you can do with this palette, because just looking at it, you can see how it might be difficult to put the colors together to create looks. But you do have these shades up here which make really great everyday shades. This shade right here, gorgeous like duochrome shade. It has a pink in one light, and then when you kind of look at it from the side, it's like a gold shade. It's so pretty. And this green I cannot get over. It is just so beautiful. It captures the light so well and just has so much different dimension and reflect through that shadow. It's so gorgeous. When you look at it in the pan, it looks like moss. It's just so soft and reflective. It says that there's 12 shades that are matte and foiled. These 3 are pressed glitter shades, but they definitely have a foiled finish, as you will see in the swatches. So they also sneak peeked that they do have a camouflage soft focus liquid concealer and setting powder coming. Really excited to give those a try. So every single order in the US gets free shipping, and they do offer PayPal and Amazon Pay for payment options. Okay, I think that is pretty much it for what I wanted to touch on in the palette. I am going to go into some of the shade names and what they mean in swatches, so if you want to find out about those, stick around for swatches. Also, if you want to jump around to any point of the video, just check out the timestamps down below. I will put them in the description box as well as in the comments, so you can click them in the comments. So if you're excited about this palette, make sure to give me a thumbs up. It really helps me out. And if you want to see more from me, don't forget to click the subscribe button down below. I will list all the products that I used on my face in the description box as well as the website and everything related to this palette. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So here is a look of the outside of the palette, and I just love how the shade names reflect the cover art of this palette. It's such a gorgeous theme, and it all fits together so well. Starting with the shade Harmonia. As you may guess, Harmonia is the Greek goddess of harmony. and it is actually also a flower. Wolfling, as you can guess, a young wolf. Canis lupus is the scientific name for a wolf. And Alpha, also self-explanatory, the leader of the pack. And this is the first row of the Feral palette. Swatches aren't the best, but as you can see, a lot of the shades are very opaque. Pack leader is actually the male and female leaders of the wolf pack. Allium is a bulbous flowering herb in the onion family, and Mariposa is Spanish for butterfly. Next is Night Eyes. This is also a flower, but as I imagined it, it's like a wolf's eyes in the night. And that is the second row. For the third row, Wisteria is a flowering plant that is actually poisonous. And Fenris is a wolf in Norse mythology. And Ivy, I'm sure you all know what Ivy is, the climbing vine. And Huichera, this is actually spelled different than what I could find, but it is a shade plant, also known as coral bells. Huichera, I think that's how you say it. And I just wanted to swatch the shade again for you because I felt like it wasn't capturing the light as much as I wanted to, just to show you the dimension, and that shade is just gorgeous. Okay, priming my eyes with Tarte Shape Tape, going in with Canis lupus, and just placing this in the transition area a little bit higher, and slowly winging it out. I'm going to take Fenris, I hope I'm saying that right, and I'm going to blend that just a little bit lower beneath the first transition shade, and then I'll go back and forth and kind of build these up and blend them together a little bit. And I did add a touch of the yellow shade Night Eyes on just above those transition shades to sort of like lightly gradient it out. For the outer corner, we're going to go in with Ivy, and we're really going to pack that up. The more you pack this shade up, the darker it gets, and then we'll also kind of blend those into the transition shade. In an attempt to really darken up that outer corner, I went in with the shade Alpha, but these shadows are just so opaque that they lay over each other more than they blend together, which gave me a little bit of trouble, but they do blend together. You have to work a little bit harder for it. So I cut my crease with the Tarte Shape Tape, and then I'm going to go over the top of that with the shade Huichera. And I just mostly used my finger to apply that, and it was so opaque and so beautiful, but I also used a flat shader brush to get up close to where we cut the crease. And I never had to use any glitter glue or wet these shades to get them to perform this well. These shades I'm using are all dry. Then I went back in with the shade Ivy and just placed this right over the edge of the Huichera shade just to help those fade together. And after that, I just sort of went back in with the different shades that I used to build up that pigmentation and blend everything out to where I liked it. And then we're going to take the yellow shade Night Eyes and place that on the inner corner. For the lower lash line, we're going to take Fenris, and we're just going to place that all over the entire lower lash line. We'll darken up the outer corner with Ivy and the inner corner with Night Eyes. For the lip, I chose the liquid lipstick in the shade Aurelia, and this is just the perfect cool tone mauve. I love this shade so much. And some lights it looked kind of gray, and with this look it happened to look a little bit more purple. I just thought it was beautiful, and that will finish up this look. Decided to squeeze a second look into the same day, so I already have my face makeup on, and my fiance actually chose the colors for this, so I just kind of went with it. We're doing Night Eyes in the transition area on the outer corner, and Wisteria for the transition on the inner corner, and just gently blending those two together. I think Night Eyes is the most pigmented yellow I've ever used. I'm just going to pack that on the inner half of the lid, and then we'll go in with Harmonia and we'll pack that on the outer corner. These two shades kind of did the same thing. They're both so opaque that they kind of just sat on top of each other more than they blended. So I kind of just had I had to work a little bit harder for this one. And then I decided to go in with Alpha just to deepen up that outer corner a little bit. And then the rest of the time, I'm really just going to go back and we're going to build up those shades and blend them together. I do this a lot. I go back and forth and build them up and blend them out. So this part is pretty self-explanatory. After doing the wing, we're just going to use those same colors on the lower lash line, doing half of the teal, half of the yellow. And then I went in with a gel liner just because I felt like I'd be able to get in between my lashes and on my waterline a little bit better, and smudged out that black liner. And then I actually went in with the Violet Voss palette because it has this white shade called Pearl that has a nice yellow reflect to it. So I just went ahead and used that for my highlight on my inner corner and my brow bone, and that is it for this look. For look number 3, I used Canis Lupus for the transition shade, and then I'm going to blend that out with Wisteria. Since we're going to cut the crease in this look as well, I went in with Alpha to really darken up that crease area. And similarly to the first look, we're going to build up that outer corner with the shade Ivy. After the cut in the crease, I always pat out the edge with my finger, and then I went in with the shade Wolfling and placed that right over the top. For lash line, I used a small liner brush in the shade Ivy, and I just went across the entire lash line close to my lashes. And then I went in with the shade Furnace and smudged that out and kind of blended it out to give it a smokier effect. After I finished the second eye, this look was just looking a little flat to me. So I went in with the shade Huchera and I placed that right where the pink and the green overlapped. And it was so interesting because you could only see it in like certain lights. It's so beautiful. I want a really white blinding inner corner highlight. I always reach for the shade in Light from the Jaclyn Hill palette. So inner corner highlight and brow bone highlight, and this look is finished. Okay, we might have stomping. Kate's upstairs playing with the dog. I'm coming to you just kind of bummy today because I have one look that I just want to create real quick that I had in my mind. It's more of a grungy sort of everyday kind of look using this Feral palette. I want to use more of this shade, and I don't think I want to use the purple, so that's the only shade in this palette I haven't used. But I want to use more of like the red and yellow in this shade. And this shade, in case you're wondering, it's just a little bit like lighter. Let me swatch it for you. It just comes off a little bit like lighter, and I just kind of wanted a dark purple for the looks I had in mind. So I haven't come up with a look for that purple yet, but I'm just a bum today because I'm gonna move my whole beauty room upstairs. We have a guest room upstairs, and my other parents, my in-laws, used to stay up there when they visited or like when they were here, but then they moved out of North Dakota, and then my mom just moved back home to Montana, so she's not here anymore. So we don't have anyone staying in the guest room, and that has windows and natural lighting, and this room downstairs has no windows, has a root cellar. So I want to move my whole beauty room upstairs. I'm going to film that guide for you guys because if you see like what the rest of this room looks like, it's a disaster. It's not aesthetically pleasing at all. And I just want to have a more like a better environment for when I'm filming. So this video has turned into four palettes. So this video has turned into 4 looks. This one I'm just a little bit bummy today, but that's okay. Okay, like I said, I've already primed my eyes with Tarte Shape Tape, which I usually use Tarte Shape Tape when I'm going for a more bright, colorful look because I just like the shade of it and it's too light for me. But I also do like my eyeshadow primer that I'm liking right now, the Luscious Angel Eyes one. So I could have done that instead of the Tarte Shape Tape, but I wasn't thinking. So let's just get started, shall we? So I started with Mariposa, the red shade, and when you blend this out, I don't know if it kind of looks a little orange, but I'm going to go in with Canis Lupus to blend that out further, but I'm kind of keeping that more on the outer corner, and we're going to blend on the inner area of the transition shade with Night Eyes, just to kind of lighten up the inner corner of that area. I'm going to take a gel liner. This is just the Maybelline one that has tons of powder in it. And we're just going to smudge this up close to the lash line. First, I just place the product down. Don't worry about being clean because you're going to smudge it out anyways. And then I'll wipe all the product off the brush so I'm not applying anymore, and I will smudge that out. And we're going to go over the top of that with the shade Alpha, packing it on the gel liner first, and then smoking that out to our transition shades. I just wanted to show you guys this real quick. I just finished this eye. I'm going to put the rest of my makeup on. But I just wanted to show you. I have absolutely no fallout from that look. Like, I haven't wiped it away or anything. These shades, I mean, I blended and no fallout. And then this, I packed it on pretty well and still no fallout. I was pretty impressed with that. Usually I'd have, you know, just a little bit from packing the gray on. So we'll see when we go to the lower lash line if we get fallout then. But so far, I'm impressed. Take Mariposa and Canis Lupus mixed together, and we're going to blend those up against the lower lash line. Just softly sort of smoking them out, and then I'm going to go in with Alpha on a liner brush and place that really up close and tight to the lower lash line. Then I'm going in with a bigger smudger brush. This is from It Cosmetics, and we're just sort of smoking that out, blending it out a little bit more. And then we will highlight the inner corner and the brow bone with ABHM Razy. So to go with this grungy vibe, I picked the shade Baked by Violet Voss for a liquid lipstick. And the shade was fine, but this was the worst liquid lipstick I've ever used. It was so hard to apply and it was so uncomfortable. So I went in with the Buxom Dolly Plumping Lip Gloss to finish off the look. And that is everything. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful day and be the reason someone smiles today.